Hello everyone and welcome to Cruzin' American Style. On today's show, we check out the St. Ignace Cruz. Legendary engine builder Bill Mitchell continues our look at the Motown small block Chevy. Super tuner Chuck Mallett introduces us to his stable of awesome Corvettes. And a quick visit to Vic's garage. So stick around. You won't want to miss a single minute.
Hi, I'm Vic Edelbrock. Welcome to Vic's Garage and Edelbrock Corporation. We're certainly happy to have you people here, and we sure want to show you where we come from and what we're all about. Well, the Edelbrock name was started by my late father, Vic Edelbrock Sr. in the 30s.
The C5 is kind of the starting platform where the Corvette could finally compete with the Viper. And that's where we started going to some of the Viper shootouts. Actually, we were invited. We on the cover of Auto Week for the SEMA issue, which was like '98. We were on the cover, and it was called, the rear license plate we left it on was Viper Killer, and that went nationwide, and that just brought all kind of. So the National Viper Association contacted us, said we have a shootout, and we would like to invite your Corvettes. The first one was in actually Gingerman, which is in Michigan, and it's a fairly big track, and it's a high-speed track. We actually drove our car out there, and it still had the radio in it, still had the air in it, and there was some pretty fast Vipers, and we put Jim Miniker in the car and qualified second out of 90 Vipers, and they thought they were going to kick our ass, and it wasn't going to happen. The only thing that beat us, actually we led that race. It was a 30-minute wheel-to-wheel. So this is a street car in street trim against race cars. Wheel-to-wheel, so that's a pretty big ante to ante up your hot rod. And we ran for 30 minutes in anger, and Miniker put the car on the pole, second lap, and held it for 22 minutes. And then we just started running out of brakes. The car was a street car. It wasn't a race car. We finished second in that race. And they came up to us and congratulated us about having a Corvette that could actually run with their cars. And we were only 2/10 off the win. And the funny thing, on Friday, they were frantically trying to kick our ass. I mean, they were just throwing everything up. Guys were pulling tires off of one car to put it on the fastest car. And we were in the pits, bleeding the brakes, doors open, radio on, playing our CD wide open. And they come over to us and said, "This car still has the radio in it. It still has the air conditioning in it." I said, "I drove it here, it's a street car." So after that, we've had full respect from the Viper guys. But now they're coming out with a new car, so we're going to have a new challenge.
You could have been up there, man. You missed a good show. It's awesome.
Well, I originally came up with a concept I think really goes back to my childhood, because I can remember coming home and wanting to buy this 33 Ford Coupe and trying to explain to my dad why I needed this car. And of course, he looked at me like I was absolutely crazy, and out of just absolute frustration, he says, would you drive that car in a funeral? I said, well, hell yeah, sure. This car is just so neat. But in the long run, he talked me out of it, and cooler heads prevailed.
Last week, Bill examined the bulging cylinders of the World Products Motown small block Chevy. This week, we look at the reciprocating assembly.
Okay, so now that we've gone over all the features here, and I showed you how we made the bore accommodate the big piston and the large crankshaft, let's come over and talk about the components we're going to stuff in this Motown block here to make 427 inches. First off, we start with a 4340 Eagle.
Cruisers make the pilgrimage to St. Ignace year after year. It has become a tradition since 1975. That first show had more than 130 cars making an appearance.
I said, well, I want to do a car show here in June, the last weekend of June, which was a real flat weekend for the business community. And they said, you got to be kidding. Why would we ever want to go to St. Ignace? I said, well, I'll tell you what, how about if I give you $5? Okay, we'll come. True story, and 136 of them came, which is, even by today's standards, not a bad number. You know, and that was in 1976. And we had the only game in town for a long time in this part of the country. And then all the other towns started picking up on it, and they're going to do a show. And then they'd ask me how to do it, and I had amnesia.
Today, more than 3,000 cars officially entered in the one-day car show. Descend upon...
It wasn't too long ago that smudging that fine line between street and strip horsepower was as easy as making homemade apple pie. Well, alright, it's been more than 20 years since double-duty street machines have been commonplace. With today's low-octane fuel and strict emissions rules, high horsepower and emissions legal are words rarely used in the same sentence, let alone the same car. But at Mallet Motors, these guys... Hi, and welcome to Manufacturers Row. This is the segment of the show where we bring you up to date with all the new current trends and new products.
And you know what's hot in the marketplace these days?
I got a funny feeling you're gonna let me know, Barry.
You bet. These wheels and tires from Eagle Alloys, Yokohama tires, they're just the thing you need to set your ride apart from everybody else.
You can't beat a set of tricked out tires and rims to get that horsepower to the road. And of course, once you've made that high dollar investment, you want to make sure these tires and rims stay looking detailed for as long as possible.
That's right, and Blue Coral's just brought out this Black Magic tire tint, just the thing you need to keep those slicks looking slick.
Culture Enterprises has got you covered with those rims with this new extreme metal polish. They'll handle anything from stainless steel, copper, brass, all the way down to magnesium.
Yep, it'll keep the billet aluminum and chrome under the hood looking sharp.
Stay tuned for more Manufacturers Row as we bring you up to date with all the new current trends and new products. Hi, and welcome to More Power Parts. This is the section of the show where we introduce you to new performance parts that help increase horsepower.
That's right, Pat, and we've got a collection of add-on parts just designed for the street enthusiast in mind.
Of course, there's nothing like the feel of the instant horsepower response at the touch of a button.
That's right. This system from Zex is really designed with a sport compact user in mind. Simple 40 horsepower right out of the box gain. You can put it on in your driveway.
Of course, once you start running with that improved horsepower a la juice, you might want to improve your ignition system.
That's right, and that's where MSD comes in. Their fine line of ignition components, including billet distributors, ignition boxes, and their fine performance wires, all designed to get the spark where it's needed.
Of course, you got to start with the basics, which is your induction system with a combination of intake and carburetor, like this Holley Street Avenger system, which is ready to go right out of the box. It gives you better throttle response, better acceleration, improved fuel economy, and superior drivability.
And all that's backed by their limited lifetime warranty.
So stick around and watch each episode as we introduce you to more Power Pots.